So I have a friend that you guys may or may not know about, but his name is actually Issac, or what he's actually well known as, the one and only Metroum, your black and creasy commentator from Texas. And for people who actually became fans, either from me or if he's just been known for a couple years, I wonder if a lot of you guys actually notice where has actually he been? He hasn't uploaded a video in 2 months. He hasn't been streaming that much at all, to be honest. Where has this black man disappeared to in another dimension that we have no idea what he's even talking about? And the answer is actually very simple. He's actually creating a comic book company. Basically making something that's similar to Marvel and DC, but going to be in the category kind of like Dark Horse and other type of independent comic book companies. And I actually have it right here. So this is his company right here. It is officially called kabalgb Comics. It is a series of comics that is all supposed to be linked together, and it all started with this comic right here, which is called kabalgb. So this is the one to where, like, when I saw this image, whoever is the artist, I literally am going to be gassed over, because this comic right here just looked so beautiful and super interesting that, like, when I also read the story, it was also very interesting whatsoever. The story is basically about this guy meeting this guy, and apparently these two are basically lovers in this basically life, but in this life, in terms of these beings that are right behind them, they've actually been fighting for generations. They excruciatingly hate each other, and just how the story goes and based on all the characters that have been introduced, it is very, very interesting. Then we move on to the other story, which is called Tokyo Ninja. This is basically the father, which actually protected New Tokyo, New York for quite some time. Basically went to go settle down, had a family. Then his old arch nemesis came around, and his son basically becomes the new Tokyo Ninja. Then we have another one, which he literally told me as soon as he created the story, this story will basically win awards. It is called Black Power, and this main character, known as Issac, basically has superpowers. He was basically abandoned as a kid, got raised by random black people, and also is fighting the KKK. So if you're very political, you might actually like this comic book story, you know? And then the one that I'm actually pretty excited about, mainly due to the fact that this comic is actually a story that I wrote back in the 8th grade. So 9 years ago, I had a second period office aid class, and I didn't know what to do in there because I would always get my homework done all the time, and I would always get all my stuff done until, like, I had to send some slips out to certain classrooms. I just had to wait and did absolutely nothing, so I literally wrote a script of a superhero called Shockster. And I told him this story, and he actually loved the idea of the origin story, how the story went, and he actually turned my character into a female. And the story is basically she's a vigilante fighting off of people that are basically henchmen of a villain known as the Curator. She was fighting this person, and his gun was actually knocked out. She was eventually able to grab the gun, and as soon as she was able to pull the trigger, electricity or a lightning bolt basically shocked the gun, basically knocking them both out, one of them getting much more damage than the other person, and she eventually lost her memory. She has no idea who she is, so she goes through this lifelong journey of who exactly she is, and she learns about her past, learns about what happens, and eventually that electric bolt that actually shocked her, she gets electric powers. But what I'm about to do is I'm actually going to be reading all the comic strips in this, and this is my second time actually doing this. Apparently my microphone was not recording, so there was a moment where police sirens was actually going off in the New Tokyo Ninja story, and it actually sounded beautiful. And then there was also another story that I literally sound like stereotypical black people, and hopefully my family does not think I'm such a weirdo from reading this comic strip. So here is kabalgb, and off the bat, it just looks like a sick comic all on its own. This looks like a background image that you would love to have. They square off against each other, and then they grab their swords, and they literally just start going at it with each other. They are literally fighting Super Saiyan Goku style, just completely annihilating. And this is one of the few stories that is considered an anime. The majority of the comics that we have in this selection is mostly considered comics, but this one, whenever he told me about this story, is actually officially called an anime. We see him actually getting stabbed and dying. Death is never the end for me. He sees him with the crazy freaking face, and then he eventually dies, and then he's just going to keep coming back, and it just keeps repeating the cycle over and over and over again. These people stop fighting, they go onto this planet, and eventually that being went into Earth, which she basically gave birth to this person, and then the other guy went to the same exact one and eventually gave birth as well. It leads on to the story of basically one guy getting beaten up because of the fact that he is in fact gay, even though the other guy that literally got his ass kicked was also gay because he basically fought for him. They eventually fall in love, and then the rest is history. If you want to check out these stories, these are actually going to be in the links down in the description below in chronological order. And if you do have a Webtoons account, make sure to hit that follow button because he's been trying to make a fan base of each and every single story. Here we have the next story in New Tokyo Ninja. This is the one that apparently out of all the comics, this is a fan favorite. So now I'm about to do my weird voices, and I'm so sad that the police are not here just to make that sound effects, because when I recorded this, that sounded beautiful. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and read it. 1999, New Tokyo, New York. An up-and-coming city where anything is possible. The mayor complied with the majority to defund the police due to the officers shooting unarmed citizens. Then there was an outbreak of crime. The city that was once great fell under the control of the samurai. A ruthless gang willing to go to the extreme measures to get what they wanted. Until one man turned everything around and became the New Tokyo Ninja. And this is the part where they kept playing the police, and I cannot believe the police are not playing. It goes throughout to him actually fighting off the ninjas, beating up everybody, and literally annihilating everyone in this comic book strip. He became the city's saving grace, but a samurai's worst nightmare. That man was my father. He gave up everything to become a father, and eventually the enemy that he's been fighting actually did get resurrected, came back, and the rest is history, and all the information will actually be in this story. Links down in the description below. Next up is Black Power. Now I'm going to be completely honest with you. I had fun reading this because I'm a little bit of a weirdo when it comes to voices, so whenever I read this to Isaac in terms of my stereotypical black voice, he's just like, oh hell no. So yes, I am going to be reading this story in a stereotypical black woman, and I'm going to be reading this for the second time, and my family is literally going to think I am a complete weirdo. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. Red Tree, Alabama, 1947. What the hell was that noise? Got me up like 3 in the morning. They must be out their damn minds. See a woman actually just dropping off the baby and trying to distrolling. Hello? Who there? Kind of he just randomly flies. Just phew. I ain't playing. If y'all dumb ass kids ain't, I'm gonna whoop your ass in and all your mamas. Sweet baby Jesus. Who left this on my porch? Larry! Why your black ass up come out here? Woman, why are you screaming like you pray to Jesus at church on a Sunday morning? Boy, if you don't bring your hat on. Charmaine, it is 3 in the morning. And you know very well I gotta work. Hold on now. That's a baby. No shit, Larry. I don't know who he belonged to, but whoever put him here got the wrong address. What in the hell are you doing? What the hell look like, Larry? Oh, hell no, woman. You know very well we ain't taking this baby. This baby going back to his mama. We already got one. We don't need another one. Charmaine, no we ain't. You better put it back, Charmaine. They eventually grow up, and then they have to live in the 1953s, which is well known for being very racist to black individuals. It demonstrates on this page right here. Ain't no white boys where? What's wrong? Monkey can't speak? Oh, come on. Don't call them that. Call them by what they're known as. Now, I'm not going to say that, people. Why do you think I'm just going to say everything that's going to be on this page? If you want to read for yourself, links down in the description below. And now the story that got some inspiration from moi, myself, because I'm the one that literally created the story, even though he modified so much in order to make it make sense. But that makes sense. I was literally like 14 or 15 when I made the story. But yeah, it was a rainy afternoon, or rainy evening, basically. It was a thundering lightning strike. We got her running from this guy right over here, which is basically a half lizard creature. Now we can make this very simple. I don't want to hurt you. I just want to help you. Now all you gotta do is just come out and surrender yourself, girl. We've been watching you for a while now. You're so strong and athletic. You're exactly what the curator wants. Now where are you? Come out, whatever you are. Dodging and weaving. She's like a legitimate vigilante, basically like the Black Widow in this universe, you're the one who's been kidnapping the homeless and the innocent people. Guilty. It's for a good reason. Just want to help these people. Knocks out the gun and basically grabs the gun, points at him. You wouldn't. And this is where my origin story starts. She shoots the gun, basically electrocutes the pistol, and the bullet actually explodes, releasing the gunpowder to this individual, shocking her in the process, shocking him in the process. He basically is dead, but also she is knocked out unconscious. And it goes to this whole story about basically these people found her in the alleyway, and basically she tries to figure out who exactly she is. She doesn't know her name, she doesn't know exactly who she is, she doesn't even know why she is living on this planet Earth. Eventually she meets some people, and eventually she learns she has electric powers. And that is, my friends, all the stories that my friend Isaac is actually going to be creating. Out of all the stories that I think is very interesting, and I'm not going to include Shockster in this list, but out of all the stories that I feel like it's going to be interesting that Isaac has definitely have created, I believe New Tokyo Ninja is actually going to be one of the few stories that I feel like a lot of people would like. And now in terms of a full-on universe, I honestly do believe Battle Chi is going to be one of the best-selling stories of all this. Not only that, but it's one of the stories that actually was the beginning of this company, as well as when he told me the story and when I was actually doing some of the lines for these characters. I will say it does sound like a massive universe, not kind of like what Star Wars is, but there is a lot more characters that needs to be introduced other than what we got right here. But if you do want to read these stories, links down in the description below in chronological order. Even though I'm saying chronological very weird, I'm saying chronological. I don't know why I'm saying that, but it would be really appreciated if you follow him on the Webtoon stories, as well as follow his Instagram. That will also be down in the description below. So if you guys enjoy, that's pretty much it. Until then, Kabal out.